Welcome back to the Eric Krown Crypto channel. Wishing you a happy to the start to this nice Tuesday morning here as we get prepared for realistically tomorrow, Wednesday, as it's going to be a big event. Obviously, CPI coming out and very likely to move the market significantly, of which today is more or less a preparation of the major pivots for that next day to come. Anyways, other than that, I want to once again give the spotlight to the Bybit promotion going on as it got 0% on maker fees for derivative contract orders. Plus, you can get the Jewel at free for the first 30 days if you follow the directions in the link in the description below. And of course, because Bybit has now officially gone KYC, and I believe most exchanges are now or headed towards that route. I know a lot of people are looking for an exchange, a decentralized exchange alternative, which they actually do have a decentralized exchange arm called Apex. There's another affiliate link in the description below as well that'll award you 5% off of your fees for the lifetime of your account. All right, sweet. Let's just jump right into it. Starting off right over here, and damn it, my notes are not in the right place. There we go. It's like everything needs to be perfect, man. That's the OCD speaking right there. Anyways, so I want to start off this analysis with a little bit more on the, let's say, the engagement side. So whenever you see me talk about something like this, especially on Twitter as well, understand that this is more or less a tool of engagement, but there is some merit to this as well. And so I'll bring up a pattern right here. The old schoolboy pattern, in this case, is going to be a bit of a head and shoulders, particularly for Bitcoin on the daily right here. We actually have a double left shoulder, double right shoulder, and your head over here, obviously, unless this is like some fucked up Quasimodo. But ultimately, you can have something like that. Yes, indeed, that's completely fine. Now, of course, when it comes to head and shoulders, there are both there is a higher hit rate for a downside breakout, obviously, than an upside one, but there is actually a failure condition as well, which we can obviously then plot failure areas of interest or failure targets from. In this case, you got a very well and clear defined right shoulder and neckline right here. Those are the two major areas of interest. Of course, in the case of this one actually breaking to the downside, we want to first see an actual closure below this region right here, the neckline, if you will, which is basically upper $26,000 territory. That's at the point where I do think Bitcoin's going to start to initiate some pretty severe downside moves. We can see from the implied movement that this would probably be heading Bitcoin somewhere back down around that daily 200 moving average right here, actually, in the low $23,000 territory. Is it going to be bounced along the way at like 25? Probably yes. But after that, I kind of want to come back to things and keep that number in the back of your mind's eye. Now, of course, until this is actually resolved, there is actually a chance. There's a chance that it does break the other direction as well. Again, when we're talking about patterns, we're just going with a slightly higher probability, in this case, to the downside. But if you do see this one trade back above what would be the right shoulder in this case, we'd actually take that same implied move and plot it to the upside as an area of interest. And where would that be pointed towards? $35,000, which is, again, one of the last major CME gaps that we do see from nearly a year ago. Actually, let me just get rid of that because you can't actually see it right there. And coming in from this area, May of 2022, as you can see. So that would actually line up incredibly nicely if Bitcoin were to flip back around and actually complete the failure on that one. But until then, anything between this range, doesn't really resolve the formation in and of itself. And I'll just put like some at the top side right there. Let me get rid of the LARP lines, not relevant anymore, although I'm still kind of playing that out, to be fair, more or less just going sideways within this region. Anyways, so I did want to also address a few of the things that I did not yesterday on the daily right here. Daily does have regular bearish divergence come off that last high. Now, of course, the easy portion of that move's already been hit, but if there is going to be another leg, probably brings it down to the neckline, and obviously that's going to have a chance to break. And seeing as the daily jewel is also showing downside right here and supported by DMI for the downside as well, I do think that there's a legitimate threat of this move, in fact. But again, validation of the way that I look at things, or at least when it comes to patterns, which I'm not a big guy on that to begin with. Again, whenever you see me posting this on Twitter, like, you should know, it should be our little secret. This is a tool of engagement. And for whatever reason, I don't know why this is. Maybe I do, maybe I don't, maybe you have some ideas as well. But on Twitter especially, the more simple the chart, the more engagement it'll get. Very, very interesting, because you could put out like some really at least in my opinion, like quality analysis, which I do see from other people as well. And it's just like people don't give a fuck, but just draw a line to 1 million. You're good to go, baby. You're good to fucking go. Anyways, so we got that. I also wanted to once again put a small spotlight on the 2-day setup that is brewing over here, the volatility versus stochastic momentum setup, because this one is getting pretty damn close, I do think. Keep in mind that, based off of tomorrow's event, that'll be the next closure of the 2-day time frame. We could start to see things fire off from here as well. I'm gonna go through the full rigmarole on this. I'll just briefly explain and then briefly go over, not into like any super detailed thing right now. I still don't think it's like fully relevant, but basically anytime that we have seen the 2-day time frame volatility get down in extreme lows, represented by the BBWP indicator right here, which you define as 10 percentile or lower, the expansion phase that naturally follows after that contraction has led to an average move. Let me just bring it down right there, of about just over 27%. Over the course of an average of about 2.5 weeks, 19 days, or maybe closer to 3 weeks. And the direction of the stochastic oscillator has had a high correlation with the direction of price upon expansion at about 81.5% or so. Now, as of right now, the 2-day time frame is still angled to the downside and will be showing continuing downside momentum as long as Bitcoin is below 29,100 on a closing basis. So again, that would be not good for the Bulldogs right there as well. Would still suggest that there actually is a decent probability that we do see this one break down again, either neckline break, or I want to see volatility expanding plus that stochastic oscillator pointed to the downside. But until then, right now, if it were to expand from here, obviously that would be a downside setup. And if we were to actually take this, just you kind of have to guess where this one would actually be starting from. But 27% off of current price action would put Bitcoin at about 22.5 to 23,000 bucks. Sounds very familiar based off of this right here as well. Also, again, that daily 200 simple. Now, again, until this one does fire off, can turn into a long signal. In fact, the longer that Bitcoin essentially trades sideways here, the more and more that this oscillator will just naturally have a bit of a bullish reset. But that's going to take a little bit longer, actually, at least throughout the rest of this week. So if you don't see Bitcoin break down by, let's say, Friday, it's going to be a pretty damn good signal that we do see this one flip back around. And then we can just apply those stats to the upside. What does another 25, 26% look like on top of price action? Oh, what do you fucking know? 35,000 bucks is once again there in front of our very faces. So, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say by the end of May, beginning of June, we're probably going to be looking at either like $23,000 Bitcoin or $35,000 Bitcoin. Yes, we've gone through that. Let's go back on over here. I wanted to address the failure of yesterday's setup on the 3-hour time frame HPDR indicator. That one, obviously, the risk management conditions were hit on something like this in the way that it was tested. So I just wanted to show that, yes, while these do typically have pretty damn good stats, understand that these are probabilities, not certainties. And I feel very compelled to get that information out there because, we've seen a lot of these things work out like almost too often on this channel. I just want to show, yes, they do fail. They do fail as well. So understand that they're not infallible, but they are quite valuable. Anyways, on that topic, let's actually discuss a couple more setups coming on. Or how many do I want to go over? We'll just go over one, the easier one right here. 4-hour time frame and probably 6-hour time frame as well. But we'll just go with the 4-hour time frame because it's already set up right here. We can see. Let me actually see if the 6-hour is baking in there as well. Just uno momento. It is, but this one's closer. Anyways, So the 4-hour time frame is actually starting to show a potential jewel light setup right here, of which, wait, actually it's not, because my days are on right there. What piece of criteria is not being met? That's actually very bizarre. In this case, I guess there's actually not. There is actually not right there. So let's actually go. Well, I guess we'll just go to the to number 15. So on the 6-hour time frame, there is a potential setup brewing here as well, and it is awaiting validation. However, in the case of the 6-hour time frame, we can see that there are several closures below that blue range low right here. And as you can see, volatility is still increasing. So this one's not live just yet, but very likely it will be I mean, I shouldn't say very likely, but it will have potential to be set up officially relatively soon. If we start to see the moving average on the volatility indicator, again, the BBWP right here, start to curl down and get a negative slope in a close over closure fashion, then at that point, if closures are still below this region right here, then that would set up a nice probabilistic setup for a bounce, pretty much the same bounce that I'd be looking for from yesterday, actually. In this case, out of 94 tested iterations, 70% of that, or just above 70%, did have a nice upside bounce over the course of an average of 24 bars. 24 on a 6-hour time frame is what is gonna need a calculator for myself. I didn't get the best night's sleep last night, so I don't feel I can do that in my head. It's 144. So of course that would be how many days? Like 3 or 4 days? No, 6 days. Way fucking off, man. Way off. But yeah, that would suggest that Bitcoin's more likely to trade sideways and up, probably between, I guess this one would potentially fire off today if it's going to fire off. So yeah, it'd kind of land us into like early next week, maybe Monday of next week. You'd be expecting that move. And of course, the average winning trade that we have seen born upon this was about 6% from that setup given. So right now, again, we don't have a setup. It's just a potential, maybe confirmed later today. So let's just kind of guess where it'd start from. If it starts from kind of where we're at right now, that would put Bitcoin back at around $29,000. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And maybe it lines up with a few other things as well, but this one is just potential right now. It is not there just yet. Could be confirmed, or if it is going to be confirmed, probably happens later today, I would imagine, maybe around US market open or a little bit after that, actually. Anyways, going on into stochastic momentum, I do want to go over just all the major pivots here. Daily time frame going to be showing downside momentum as long as Bitcoin is below 28,150 on a closing basis. On CME right now, about $100 below that level. 12-hour time frame is going to be currently nosediving below about $29,000. So all hope is lost on that one. 6-hour time frame is actually all the way down into the bearish control zone, the critical bearish control zone right here. So as usual, when things start to get down around this region, it does become more and more difficult to maintain momentum at these levels. So 28,250 is going to be the magical number right there. Again, the longer that Bitcoin trades sideways within this range without breaking down, naturally we'll see these things start to flip back around. 4-hour time frame, 27,650, the current pivot, and hourly time frame is probably going to be, it's actually going to turn back down below 27,600, which Bitcoin's actually above by a few bucks right now. So it doesn't really give us too much. But what does this likely equate towards? Well, again, we do, whenever we do see that Joule setup go on, which one was I talking about? Well, actually, I was going over the HPDR setup, but the Joule one's probably gonna play side by side by that if it is gonna play out. So a lot of the time you do see a retest of the lows hold, and then works its way upwards and onwards. And what do you know? We actually do see that there's a nice little CME gap coming in at the lower end about $29,000, on the upper end about 29.5 or so. So again, if Bitcoin is going to play at that upside move, we'd probably expect it to trade trade sideways today within this short-term range, retest the lows, maybe make slightly newer lows, but no breaking of that critical region that we spoke about at the beginning of this video. And if that holds to fruition, let's say until especially after tomorrow's event, that's going to be a pretty damn good sign for BULAs. But until then, pressure is on to the downside. Anyways, I did want to go over something a bit more out of left field over here, just because, I do think that it's rather interesting. Maybe another great tool of engagement over here. But basically, if we go ahead and check out NASDAQ futures, symbol NQ over here, we can see that NASDAQ, which typically trades very highly correlated with Bitcoin, being that Bitcoin is both a technology and a financial. We can see that NASDAQ is actually, did it make new highs on this rally? Yeah, it actually did make ever so slightly new highs on this rally as of yesterday. So we are starting to see a bit of a divergence between traditional markets and Bitcoin here. Usually in these cases, Bitcoin's the laggard and traditional markets are the leader. So I would look at this as like a bit of God, my eye's so fucking itchy right now. I don't know what's going on. I think there's like pollen or something in the air. It's awful, man. It's really, really bad. But yes, typically we do see Bitcoin as kind of like the laggard. So, is this giving an early indication that, NASDAQ is, going to continue on with, NASDAQ is continuing on with the rally. This is very obviously, a bullish chart right here. does that mean that Bitcoin picks itself up from its bootstrap and puts in this rally as well? Well, I think that would be another sort of factor on that side of the equation that would say it's worth considering. So that's why I do kind of hold reservation that until Bitcoin really breaks down from this region, I still hesitate to really get full on bearish. And when I say full on bearish, like when I get bearish, it will happen very, very fast, you know, from about, what is it, like 26.8 all the way down to like 23, probably bounce along the way, maybe even all the way down to like 21, maybe even all the way down to 21 if things really truly break down. But for right now, you know, I'd still be hesitant to really call things like with conviction, as long as Bitcoin within this range, and especially ahead of tomorrow's event. So I think that is going to be probably the deciding factor on a lot of these setups that we're looking at. And once we get those setups start to trigger off, then we just know the areas of interest and, you know, what's kind of most likely to be born upon that. Or at least that's the way that I look at these sort of things. So I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this video. I want to be wishing you the best as always. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.